So we've just seen Ryan Garcia take on Mario Barrios, and I'm not gonna lie, this was pretty much how I said it would be in my last video, other than the KO. Now, I'll be honest, in that last video I came across as pretty disrespectful towards Barrios. That's just how I felt about the matchup. After watching the fight, I can't even pretend I was wrong, because within the first minute of the fight, Barrios is already on the canvas, dropped by a right hand from Ryan Garcia. Who would have thought that's the punch doing the damage? From that point on, you could see how the fight was going to play out. Ryan's footwork looked sharp, everything he threw seemed to land, and the speed difference between the two was honestly insane. Barrios just looked a step behind all night. Not only that, he looked mesmerized by the speed, like he didn't know when Ryan was about to throw and what was coming next. Every time Ryan let his hands go, something landed. And I've also got to say something. In my last video, I questioned Ryan Garcia's dad as a coach, but credit where it's due, Henry Garcia actually did a really good job in the corner. The advice was clear, the instructions made sense, and Ryan was listening, so fair play. Because whatever they worked on in the camp, it showed. Ryan was landing right hands that were rocking Barrios. Every clean shot seemed to stun him. And listen, I hope this doesn't come across like I'm glazing Ryan here, but he dominated this fight. He won every round in a complete shutout, and in the process, he finally became a world champion. After everything that's happened in his career, Ryan finally put it all together. And when you think about it, it's kind of crazy that it took this long. The talent was always there. The amateur pedigree was there. The speed, the power, it was obvious years ago. But it's taken him 10 years as a professional to finally reach this moment. What really stood out to me was the evolution in his game. In this fight, Ryan didn't just rely on his speed and his left hook, he boxed, he used both hands. His jab actually looked world level at times, the feints were sharp, his defense looked better than we've ever seen, and most importantly, he stayed disciplined. That's something people have questioned about Ryan for years. But tonight, he fought like a guy who had a plan and stuck to it. Now, the big question is, will we ever see him box this well again? Only time will tell. But if this version of Ryan shows up consistently, he's going to be a real problem for a lot of fighters. With that being said, this isn't to take anything away from him, but Barrios is probably the weakest champion in boxing right now. That was always my view going into the fight, and tonight didn't really change that. Still, you can only beat what's in front of you, and Ryan did exactly what he was supposed to do. Now, what's next? This is where things get interesting. Because 147 has names, big names. The fight I personally want to see next is the Devin Haney rematch. There's already bad blood in the camps, and their last fight had been ruled a no contest, and the failed drug test just adds fuel to the fire. Stylistically as well, I actually favour Ryan Garcia in that fight. The hand speed, the left hook, those are always going to give Devin Haney problems. But another name Ryan Garcia called out after the fight was Shakur Stevenson. With this newfound confidence he has, could he trouble Shakur? Maybe. But if I'm being honest, I still lean towards Shakur. He's defensively miles ahead of guys like Barrios and Rolly. And Ryan struggled to break down Rolando Romero's defense. So if he had trouble there, Shakur is a completely different puzzle. Still a massive fight though, but realistically, the most likely next opponent might actually be Conor Benn. He's currently the WBC's #1 mandatory. And speaking of Benn, his situation right now is one of the strangest things happening in boxing, because his signing with Zuffa Boxing completely came out of nowhere. If you've watched boxing long enough, you expect surprises. But this one genuinely caught me and a lot of people off guard. Just a couple of weeks earlier during the fight week for Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez, we saw Eddie Hearns doing interviews, talking about Benn's future like everything was normal. Potential fights with Rolly Romero, Ryan Garcia, even another fight with Chris Eubank Jr. at 168 pounds. It seemed like business as usual. Which is why the Zuffa deal shocked everyone, because Benn has always looked like a matchroom lifer, especially after the failed drug test and the way Eddie stood by him and defended him in pretty much every interview during the whole situation. That was the period where a lot of public opinion around Hearns really changed. Now apparently, the split wasn't actually smooth either. In a recent interview, Hearns said he was devastated. He claimed he received an email from Benn's lawyer about the move, and texted Benn saying after everything Matchroom has done for him, they deserve at least a phone call, which Benn refused. But at the end of the day, boxing is a business, and fighters have to treat it like one. We've seen too many fighters go broke after their career, so if someone is offering huge money, it's hard to blame a fighter for taking it. Considering Benn only started boxing relatively late, the amount of money he's made is pretty crazy. There's still loads of questions around the whole situation. For example, Benn is currently rated #1 in the WBC. If he's fighting under Zuffa, does he keep that ranking? Because as we know, Dana White and Mauricio Suleiman don't exactly have the best relationship. According to Chris Mannix, so take this with a grain of salt, the deal might only be for one fight worth 8 figures. Which is interesting because that's not Dana White's usual style. But like I've said before, Zuffa clearly have deep pockets. And it feels like one of those situations where time will eventually reveal all. That's my thoughts on the fight and everything going on around it. I want to know what you guys think. Did Ryan Garcia really turn a corner with this performance? Or was this more about the level of opponent he was in there with? And if he keeps fighting like this, how far do you think he can go at 147 pounds? And who would you like to see him fight next? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I'm really interested to see where people stand on this. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It genuinely helps me a lot and keeps me motivated. Appreciate you for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Punch Fiction signing off.